It's Mandy with 2 E's. You've come to my show, Simply Rent It, which is also the name of my business. I am your rental consultant who has a deep passion for helping landlord investors gain knowledge, save time, and reduce risk without having to spend a lot of money hiring a full-time property manager. I've recently just hit a milestone in my career, which I'm super proud of. I've now been licensed for 8 years as a real estate professional, and last year I decided to get my broker's license in real estate in Iowa, and it has been the best decision I've ever made. Today I'm going to go over with you 4 tips for filling a vacancy once you've found an interested party. These include what to do once you have that interested party, how and why you should do a background check on them, how to get them to lock it in by signing and giving you deposit to secure the unit, and what you should do with your vacancy in the meantime while you're running their application with the time in between there. This episode hits home for me because it recently happened to me, and it's something that I think everybody needs to know or should have a reminder. I knew in my heart of hearts that it was coming. I had a bad feeling that it was happening, but I ignored my inner thoughts, my inner heart, and decided to go for it, thought everything would be okay, and turned out it wasn't. So tip number 1, getting an interested party and what to do with them. Once you've had your property listed for rent and you've done a showing, you get that interested person. You want to avoid the people who offer to pay for their deposit and the rent and cash up front on the spot, on that minute, sign the lease. You want to make sure that you're doing a background check on them. So once you get that interested party, you need to get them to apply, which is tip number 2. Have an application. Think of the questions that you'd like to ask. Google what you would like for ideas of things that you should put on your application. I always like to ask why the person is moving. You can learn a ton of information from that question right there. The application should include where they work, what kind of income they're getting, past rental history, and then you should have the applicant pay for their application fee, or if you're willing to do it on your own, because a lot of companies now have moved to no application fee. If that's a cost that you'd like to front to just to get somebody to apply to get in there, then that's a decision you'll have to make financially, but it's really important to pull somebody's background information, which includes a criminal check so you can see their criminal history, and their credit information as well so you can see their credit score. So along with that, like I said, you need to do their rental history and an employment verification. So not only just take their word for where they're working, but if you can get proof of a pay stub, a W-2, a copy of their taxes for income, any copies of student loans if they're a student, that's all really helpful. I also like to just give the employer a call and see if that person is responsible, if they're showing up to work on time, if they've had any issues. And the same thing goes with your rental references. You should have questions made. A lot of time it's a lot quicker to get a rental reference back if you are emailing the person who was the prior landlord or property manager. It's a lot easier to just shoot some questions and get them back that way. A lot of people require a signed release, and so with your application, you'll want to include a section at the bottom of the application that says that the applicant is giving you permission to run their background, to pull their credit history, and that they're releasing the right for you to gain information from past rental places and past employers or anything that you'll need. Basically giving you permission to get the secure information that sometimes you don't get unless you have a signed release. The next tip I have for you is tip number 3, which is to get them to lock in their commitment as soon as possible. Once you've approved that applicant and you notify them, you want them to come in and sign and give you deposit, sign the lease, and pay for rent as soon as possible. I typically only provide 1 or 2 days, 48-hour window. A 24-hour window is even better. But recently I have been traveling to a city that is a little bit outside of the zone of where I'm at. And so I had provided a 5-day range, and 5 days is way too long. This person had 5 days to sit and think about whether they really wanted to take the property or not. Although they had invested money in the application, because they did pay for an application fee, they ultimately decided to back out. And I ended up having to reach out 3 times before I got that answer. So tip number 4 is, what should you be doing in the meantime when you're having that time in between of having the approved applicant sign? Do you take your marketing information off? Do you remove your listing, or do you keep it up? And if you keep it up, do you continue to do showings or not? My advice is, keep your listing posted. Don't remove it until you absolutely have that person locked in and secured, where you can feel 100% positive that there's not going to be anything that will happen if that person backs out. So I did keep this listing posted. I had marked it on Facebook that it was pending, which removes it, but it was still on the web and all the other sites that I have listed as available for rent. So I was still getting all of the traffic coming in from people who were asking questions, wanting to set up showings. This property was very popular, and I did get a lot of inquiries about the property itself. So I ended up having to turn away probably 3 or 4 people who wanted to do showings. What I did do, which is what you should do, is keep all of that information. Anytime you get somebody that reaches out that's interested in the property, and you have somebody pending that's wanting to sign and you have them approved, keep all of their information, all their contact information. Let them know it's pending, and that if something happens that you'll reach back out again. That's exactly what I did, and I'm so thankful I did. I've had a couple people reach back out to me that want to do a showing still, because it hasn't been that long since I wasn't able to do any showings, and I also reposted it to Facebook. So those are my tips that you should be doing to fill a vacancy. I think it's a very important reminder or knowledge for you to know that once you have an approved applicant, to get them to come in and sign, pay you deposit, give you rent as soon as possible, within a 24-hour range if possible. And just to keep your listing posted and to keep all of that information. If you decide to keep doing showings, if you live within walking distance or right around the block, that might be something that works for you. But if you do showings and you have this approved applicant and they come, then you're losing time and money, and you're wasting other people's time as well, especially if they decide that they want it and now they can't have it. So if you're someone who needs a little extra help with things such as showings, marketing, running applications, or surviving a city inspection, I'm your gal. And I can help you get back precious time for things that really matter in life. Work smarter, not harder, and hire me. I want you to know you don't have to do your next rental alone. I would love to hear your story and help you. If you receive value from this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. Also hit the bell for notifications as I post new videos every Friday. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.